Hey there, everybody. This is the Water Trio, and we're here delivering you a podcast for week beginning April 15, 2019. So we'll give you some of the highlights and the updates, and I'd like to welcome the lovely Kelly and Alicia. So how are you both?
Hello.
Hey, Cass.
I'm doing well. I'm very excited about this week.
Doing good.
How are you doing?
We're great. I'm great. Just, plowing through the month and loving the vibe. And of course, it changes a little bit this week. So we start to cruise into new territory. You going to say something, Alicia?
Feel like I need to do a Mercury in Aries happy dance.
Okay,
yes.
Do it. We could do.
Woo, 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 woo.
Oh my gosh,
just
that's
like
fantastic.
Yeah, no, Mercury in Aries will definitely be a lovely vibe. I know I've kind of had that little astro joke before. When the sun went in there, it was like astro rehab. I think this is going to be brain fog rehab after 2 months of Mercury in Pisces. This is just going to be a wonderful feeling of clarity. I mean, what do you hope to gain from this one, Leash? I mean, Mercury going through your first house, you'll be on fire, literally.
Yes. Yes, because it's Mercury first and then it's Venus second as well. So
oh, nice. Yes.
Yeah.
We've got that
I feel
double dose of planetary change this week, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Boom, boom. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like for me, just getting Mercury out of the 12th house, it's just been digging into all that hidden stuff, all those old patterns, those things I don't really want to look at. So and just that fog, I feel like I keep describing it to clients. It was literally like trying to walk drunk in a fog and get yourself to the next bar, and you just couldn't work it out. That's probably good because you probably didn't need the next bar, but you know what I mean. So I just feel like there'll be a lot.
Good time. You just want to continue having the good time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I think the good time is over. Like I'm really ready for, as you were calling it, that rehab, that drying out, that crystallizing, that getting things clear, and the speed. Mercury's a quick planet and it likes to be in those faster signs. So coming into Aries, I just feel like, suddenly the synapses will be firing again. We'll be making connections, just communicating more. I even noticed with Mars moving into Gemini, it was a sudden flurry, things that I couldn't connect to, people I couldn't meet with. Suddenly that was happening. And so with this, when Mercury goes into Aries, that'll be even more on steroids. So just get ready to get out there, get ready to go and meet, socialize, be around people. There is the possibility with Mercury in Aries of the sharp tongue, or just, such direct and honest communication that it can come off as a bit blunt. So, yeah, just have a kind of a maybe think before you speak, but I don't think that's really going to happen with Mercury in Aries. I
mean, it's definitely a double dose for Mercury, because not only is it going, from Pisces into Aries, which in of itself is really clarifying and, that sort of drying out and go, but, coming out of that extended retrograde too, it's picking up speed as well. So, I guess it's definitely kind of foot in mouth in a way, or as my grandmother would call it, the acid tongue, that blunt communication, or being a little bit sort of speaking before thinking, So, I mean, it's Mercury in Aries is a bit like, I forget what it's called, but remember that movie with Jim Carrey where he couldn't lie?
Yes.
Yes, man.
Yeah. Is that what it was called? Yeah. Just whatever came into his head, he just blurted it out. So I guess there is that potential too with Aries as well. But yeah, it's okay to blurt things out. It's just who you blurt them to, I guess, could be the little issue there. So Twitter's going to be a fun time. What are your thoughts on the Mercury in Aries, Kel?
Yeah, look, I am looking forward to it. Personally, I have Mercury in Pisces in my own chart, so it's not as though I'm a hater for Mercury in Pisces. I've just had long enough of this cycle this time round. So yeah, Mercury's moving into Aries Wednesday, April 17th. I think it's a very clarifying, drying energy. It's like Mercury is going to sort of in communication rehab maybe.
Yeah.
There is definitely the foot in mouth disease component where Mercury in Aries is kind of so quick to get things out. I think it's going to feel potentially a little frantic in the second half of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then into the weekend once Mercury moves into Aries. I mean, it's also good to keep in mind the week is going to kind of have a different feeling because Mercury's in Pisces for a couple of days at the start of the week and then moves into Aries midweek. And it's going to feel a bit like all of the things that were whispers of ideas or just tiny little bits of a possibility for the last 2 months. It's like, bam, and now you want to make the phone call, send the email, organize the thing, initiate, there's going to be a lot of scheduling, a lot of administrivia. Stuff that's been congested coming down the pipeline is now just all going to be flying about. So there's definitely an increase in mental activity. We do with the foot in mouth, like the blurting things out. Sometimes I think that's actually a good thing because I always think it's a good thing or a bad thing depending on your intrinsic personality. So if you're someone who tends to hold back, blurting things out, maybe it's not ideal that you blurted it out, but it's better that you got it out than you held it in. And so things may not come out in the perfect scenario, but at least they're going to be said or expressed, which means we're getting that sense of, you know where you stand, you know where someone else is coming from.
Yeah, it's sort of like letting off the pressure valve of tension within when you continue to hold things in. It's interesting you say that, Kel, because then we're going to have the sun move into Taurus pretty much at the same time. So, or actually that's later in the month. But,
Saturday,
sorry.
That's okay. It's a few days later, but, that's good.
Oh, man.
Hopefully we won't be so vague after all this happens.
Oh, man, I'm just orbiting on my own axis right now. So,
and that's for you a Mercury ruled chart, and I think for people who have that Mercury rulership strong in their own chart, it will show up a lot more obviously as well.
And this is it. Yeah. Like, I mean, apart from being sort of crazy busy, I mean, having Gemini rising and Mercury going through my 10th, every year it's always I find it's a bit of a, annual peak in my business. I get very busy, a lot of just activity. But yeah, this time it's been quite intense and, in a good way. But yeah, it's, as we're recording it, the current astro energy is the Mercury conjoined Neptune. And I have to say, I am actually feeling that today. Whereas up until now, I kind of felt a little bit maybe I was just so deep in work, I didn't feel anything. Starting to emerge and get a little bit of, light at the end of the tunnel and things and switching gears into other projects, then But anyway, it's a good thing. But speaking of Mercury in Aries and blurting things out, I'm just going to say this, Alicia, you need to up your flower game, girl.
I don't have anything behind. My room is full of plants and flowers, but because of the way my room's set up, I don't have a shelf but I live amongst the country. Like I've got flowers everywhere. I don't need to pick them and bring them in.
And you have beautiful roses on your dress, so yeah.
Yes.
Kelly's got her gerberas. I've got my lilies.
I know. Look, it's up there. There's a beautiful plant up there.
I've got some greenery, yeah. My Taurus planet's coming out there, like, get your garden on.
Yeah. But just before, one thing I also wanted to point out, only because I noticed how bad it was when the Mercury stationed to go backwards, but just that Mercury on Shiat,
It literally wasn't it?
And look, Mercury was slow. I don't think it will be as bad this time, but just before. So it'll be Wednesday morning here, Tuesday night in the US, Northern America. It's a tricky day. And so, you may have things come out of your mouth or things happen. Just try not to take things too personally because it's more the astro energy than what's actually happening. So, this is Mercury actually moving away from its shadow and getting out pretty much as well when it goes into Aries. So it really feels like, Aries is the beginning of the chart, the zodiac. I can't speak either. So there is this fresh new hope. a new start with a lot of things. So I guess just kind of draw a line in the sand. So I think it's happening 4 o'clock here in Brisbane, which 3 o'clock in Sydney. Just draw a line in the sand, leave the past in the past and be ready to step forward with Mercury moving into Aries. I think it will
actually be the same time for the southern states, Lishi, because I believe they wind their clocks back on the weekend whenever the 7th falls. So that will make scheduling a lot more easy.
That's good. Not having to take into all these extra time zones.
And so, Kel, do you find that when Mercury moves into Aries, you tidy up stuff around your money because it's second house for you, right?
Yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure it is. I do usually like, Mercury going through the houses just to organise the paperwork or get things sorted around whatever topic. Totally. It just feels like it's been so long in Pisces.
It's hard to remember what else Mercury does.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I guess that's to really spell it out for people. Mercury is leaving Pisces after being there for 2 months this week. It's a really big shift, and energy we've all been dealing with since mid-February, where, Mercury is shifting, changing form, changing focus, changing qualities. And, whether you've liked the last 2 months or not, that period is coming to an end. Now, when Mercury's moving, boot scooting through the sky at his kind of quick pace, Mercury usually goes through a zodiac sign in 3 weeks. Yeah. So to spend 2 months, 8 weeks in the one zodiac sign, it's much longer than Mercury usually does. So it is, that's why I think we're really obsessing over it. This is sort of a day we've all been watching. Are you going to notice a lot of change on the day? Some of you might. You might feel a little bit of a clarity, or you might feel this sort of dawning confidence to speak your mind or speak your truth or speak in a more direct way. You might feel like you're ready to assert yourself or to initiate something. But it is going to be quite a dramatic week, because I think that then sets the tone for the full moon that's coming up at the end of the week as well, which I think, Cass, you wanted to speak a little bit to, given that you do have a Libra moon. I decided to take
the full moon reins, seeing as I have a Libra moon. So we've got the new moon in Libra on the 19th, and just did I say new moon? There you go. It's the full moon on the 19th. So April 19, we've got about 12 minutes past 9 here on the East Coast, Australia. On the West Coast, it would be, 12 minutes past 4 approximately. And in London area, midday, 12 minutes past midday approximately. So, and that's kind of hanging right at the end of Libra, right at the end of the sign. So, and the the full moon ruler, Venus, is also right at the end of Pisces. So it's definitely kind of got this this feel to it. The Libra new moon, I keep saying the new moon, the full moon is really kind of highlights the balance, the me versus we and the us versus I and all of those kind of things. And then we've kind of got this point or this crossover where, Venus is in Pisces, she wants to give, and then she's going to slip right out and move into Aries, where she's a little bit less accommodating. So this full moon can bring up a lot of things depending on where your situation's at. But it might be, if you're feeling like you're coming at the end of the road, whether it's a romantic relationship, a professional situation, or a particular situation, as described by your chart, it might also be that one last push or that one last extending the olive branch or going that little bit further before you make that ultimate choice, which sometimes the full moon can describe anyway, that turning point or coming to an awareness or a choice around things. So it'll definitely be an interesting lunation just from that perspective as well. Yeah. What are your thoughts about it, girls? I can't even talk.
Yeah, I do think there's something really pivotal about the full moon being at 29 Libra. So it's at the very end of the sign. It is the second full moon in Libra that we've had consecutively. So you know, there's that double emphasis on the Libra topics and the Libra part of your chart. You know, 4 weeks prior, we had a full moon in Libra at 0 degrees. And then the ruler of the full moon is Venus, and she's at 29 Pisces at the time of this full moon. So there is a real sense of like having something or being somewhere, and then 24 hours later, everything changes. The moon moves into Scorpio, Venus moves into Aries, even the sun's going to change signs. So it's a peak, and it might bring a lot of emotional release and that typical full moon emotional drama. But then within 24 hours, it's like your focus has really shifted, and the dramas or the issues that kind of might have burst out under the full moon, they've really simmered down, or they're not even what you're focused on anymore.
Yeah. And I find it's also,
Alicia, what do you think?
Oh, sorry. I find it's also interesting that we've had these 2 full moons in Libra straddling the new moon in Aries. And my sense of it is that we had a chance to kind of let go of some stuff, then to start some things with the new moon in Aries. And any tension that might be brought up with your plans or your intentions or where you want to go, that next new moon in Libra, it's really about endings and about closings, like you girls have been saying. So it's really a time to go, okay, shut the door on all that stuff so I can actually really take this energy of that new moon in Aries and run forward with it. So I'd say on that day, just check in with your intentions that you set back on the 5th of April and really see what's standing in your way. What are you shutting down? And what potentially people that are in there because there's this full moon in Libra that might actually be standing in the way, or where you could be more cooperative or joining forces with people. But I feel like it's more an actually letting go. It's a releasing, saying, see you later, you're not serving me anymore, so that you can then move forward.
That's beautiful.
Given the position of where Venus is heading into, yeah, it's like a sayonara, mate.
Cutting, cutting off, because Venus in Aries likes to do that.
Totally. Yeah, and it is an interesting
giving herself
weekend.
Back the baton. Sorry, Kel?
I was just going to say, it is an interesting weekend with, you know, Venus and the sun changing signs. Like Venus is getting a little bit impatient and independent, moving into Aries, but the sun is calming down and moving into Taurus.
So that's a nice segue into the sun moving into Taurus. That was what I was going to talk about, I think.
Yeah.
So on April 20th, that's 6:55 p.m. here in Australia on the East Coast. What's the math on that for the rest of the world, gals?
It'll be early morning on the 20th. It's happening that same day for us, Canada and the States.
So we have our annual visit of the sun into beautiful, grounded, practical, sensual Taurus. And it'll be a time to really, I guess, we've been talking about a lot of the busy energy that will be happening midweek. And it's a balancing point, a grounding point, a place to really get our feet on the ground, even though our heads may be really busy with all the Mercury in Aries. So just making sure you have a bit of solitude time, a bit of quiet time in nature. And just, you know, this is very much about pleasure. Taurus loves pleasure. So those little things that bring you pleasure, those little rituals or acts that you can be doing, the sun in Taurus really loves to do. But yeah, I'm just getting a sense of just, you know, you walking around busy thinking and doing things in your mind, but, you know, with your feet in the grass, really connecting down to the planet and being real and present. So I guess, you know, part of you will be on social media, and then part of you will be get your head up looking around and seeing what's in the present, what's in the real here. What about you gals?
In the clouds. I do think the sun in Taurus, I was just checking something in the fabulous ephemeris, the astrological Bible. The sun in Taurus is definitely going to say, you know, connect to your body, connect to nature, connect to the earth, like really get anchored, get tactile again. But it is a sun in Taurus that's kind of ruled by that Venus in Aries. So there is still this desire to keep up a steady pace, or to, you know, enjoy things, but maybe on your own terms. So it's an interesting little almost contradiction with the sun in Taurus and Venus in Aries.
Good point there, Kel. And also too, I sort of a little bit loath to say, you know, get too comfortable considering where the sun is heading towards for the first time, and that it's conjunction with Uranus in Taurus.
Yep.
So yeah, that cow prod is going to come out real soon and get you, you know, moving along for sure. So yeah, there's sort of like that feeling of, yeah, like not getting too comfortable, or be prepared for maybe some disrupted comfort or a surprise or a shock or something that you kind of didn't expect to get out of this particular tour of the sun in Taurus.
Yeah.
I know
feel
that's
as
more
well
of a next week's thing, but it's just that little sort of caveat, I suppose, given the Venus in Aries and then, of course, the Uranus factor that's coming up too.
Yeah. It's almost like the image of the wheel too. You know, if you think about the outside of the wheel, it's always spinning, it's always busy, and there's a lot of friction. But in the inner wheel, the inner part of the wheel, it's still. So it's like there can be that point and that place of stillness in us
that
all.
You can find. You know? Yeah, like the eye of the storm, so to speak.
Yeah. And it's there, and it's that's why I feel like, you know, those rituals that help give us our inner peace, you know, connecting to those, you know, if you can every morning when you wake up, do a little 10-minute meditation before you get out of bed, or before you go to bed. You know, those things that help you connect to that still inner place within yourself will help with all the other stuff that is going on.
Interesting. And of course, you know, there's going to be a new house in your birth chart that gets lit up now. Yeah, so a little bit of a shift and a focus change as well.
Yeah, and I think that's really a big theme for this week. You know, 3 of the personal planets are changing signs. Mercury moves into Aries. Venus is going to join Mercury in Aries at the end of the week, and the sun moves into Taurus. So I always find when we get a number of planets on the move in a relatively short space of time, it does feel like things are just reset or recalibrated. And I don't know, like when I think about what's happening for me at the end of April, I'm a little bit like, I'm not really sure because I haven't got there yet. I'm still just trying to play out all these cycles that are in play or have been in play. Like I'm still running through the Mercury in Pisces. I'm still running through the sun in Aries. So I've got a couple of work things that are going to finish this weekend, because this weekend actually I totally slipped my mind, but this is actually Christian Easter weekend. So it is a holiday weekend.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So that full moon is like Good Friday, going into that long weekend. So to my mind, there's sort of this I've had for a while, just get to Easter, and then after that, everything's different. You know, you'll have cleared a few things off your plate. You know, these things will be done. Like for us, the renovations are done. The magazine will be done. For me, you know, because I'm working on the Wellbeing Astrology 2020 already, as you guys know. So, you know, a bunch of these things are all due heading into this weekend, which means, you know, the weekend off, and then, you know, when we get to next week, it's like it's a whole new ball game out there, if you like. Astrological
I
ball
agree
game.
with you there, Kel. I'm in a similar situation, of course, being on the Wellbeing Project, and then, you know, get to the other side of Easter, and then it will sort of be the downhill slide basically into Norwalk.
Yes.
You know, prepping for that, and travel plans and all sorts of things. So,
Yeah. I felt like I should give a shout out to the magazine since we're talking about it.
Oh, yes.
So this is the 2019 edition, the Wellbeing Astrology Guide. So it's an annual publication. It does come out of Australia. You can buy hard copies through the website Universal Publishers. It's expensive to ship out of Australia, so I'd recommend you Google Zinio Wellbeing Astrology Guide, and you'll be able to find the e-version, which is more affordable, and of course you don't need shipping. But that's sort of the magazine we're talking about. So, yeah, this is 2019. We're doing 2020 now. Sorry, Leash, you were going to say something else.
No, I was just going to say, that I'm glad that my wellbeing deadline has been and gone.
Yes.
Handed in. But also the sun in Taurus is just going to love Easter eggs and hot cross buns, and I just didn't even think about all that. But all the, you know, the relaxing and the pleasure stuff that comes with Easter. You know, this is the end of Lent for the Christians, so it's really about getting back into enjoying things, getting back into the pleasure of life, getting back into just connecting with people and being around people. You know, it's often a family holiday for many people. So I'm just imagining, you know, what that's going to feel like with that flavor. And I know it's not always, it's kind of around that date because it does move depending on that full moon. But yeah, just the fact that it's right on that Sun in Taurus change, it'll be, just that Easter Saturday, you know. Get your Easter bunny on, get your head in the Easter egg basket.
Yeah. I mean, Easter is quite late this year. It's about as late as it can be. So usually Easter is a Sun in Aries celebration. So it is a little different to have the Sun in Taurus. Like, I think you're right, Leash. Like, the chocolate frenzy, you know, could be a bit cray-cray this year.
Yeah.
With that.
And Venus doesn't like to think about her waistline. She just likes the taste on her tongue.
That's a lifetime on the hips.
That's right. Oh my God. Especially now that we're all in our 40s. I'm feeling you girls now.
Shh.
I feel like the jig might be up if people thought we weren't.
Yeah, especially because I'm well into my 40s. I'm well into my 40s, but anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's, I mean, I feel like it's a bit of a fast and furious week this week, but there's, you know, the planets are changing signs. That's the biggest thing. And there's a full moon.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so a shift of pace. Easter might be a little bit different if you're having some time off or what have you. Just might have a little bit of a more of a restful kind of break perhaps rather than the frantic camping trips which a lot of people do here, or it might just be kind of just a rest, retreat, catch up type of 4 days off kind of thing.
Yeah. Although camping would be nice with the Sun in Taurus. It would be really nice to be getting out in a national park somewhere.
Back to nature, yeah.
Yeah.
It would be nice. Have you got any plans, Lishi?
Actually, my husband is going away with my toddler and I am doing the markets with my 7-year-old. So it's going to be mummy-daughter time, which I'm actually really looking forward to. So we're going to work during the days and then go out and do fun stuff in the afternoons and evenings. So, yeah, that's a very Venus thing to do.
It is lovely, yeah. How about you, Kel? Have you got any plans?
You know what? I sort of feel like I can't even think this far ahead because there's so many things. Like, I'm really aware of this Mercury in Pisces because I've got such a heavy Pisces chart. I've just got an abundance of logistical, technical, editing things I'm just trying to do. I will probably be doing a little bit of, I know I'm working on the Friday because I totally didn't realize it was Good Friday and scheduled clients and, you know, I've got too much of a wait time at the moment. So I'm happy to work Friday. I mean, to have 2 days off on the weekend is like a miracle for me anyway. So I'll be thrilled about that. I'm not sure, like the Sun in Taurus, it should be spring. It should be warm enough to be outside here finally. So dare I say, I might actually get into the garden a little bit and, I have this delicious chocolate, this double chocolate mousse cake, weird mashup thing that I make for Easter. It's like the flourless chocolate cake as the base, and then there's a mousse that goes in the top.
Oh, wow.
And then there's mini eggs that go on the top. And it is actually gluten-free. It's not dairy-free and it's not sugar-free, but it is technically gluten-free. Anyway, so there'll be some excessive sugar consumption, I'm sure. What about you, Cass?
Can you share that recipe, please, Kel? And maybe we'll share it with our listeners as well because that sounds amazing.
Yes, I've got to find where it came from, but I will.
That addition to the famous flourless chocolate cake sounds really good.
Yes, it's from a chocolate. My brother and his partner gave me this chocolate baking book years ago, and I'm pretty sure the recipe's in there. So I will get it and post it online somewhere. I need to do like a sub-channel on my Instagram where I put recipes because I often get asked for my very decadent allergy-friendly treats. So I need to put them all in one place. Anyway, yes. So that's what I'll be doing. What about you, Cass?
I have absolutely no idea. I have no plans. So, yeah, I guess I'll have to discuss that re-child arrangements. But I don't know. I don't think it will be any different to any other regular weekend for me. So,
okay,
maybe a little bit of wine time and Netflix and just a bit of a chill out. But yeah, I'll have a Cadbury cream egg in honor of the water trio.
I saw saw them in the supermarket recently, and there was like Cadbury cream eggs. You know, there's like the diffusion lines now.
Yes.
But I will probably have one of those in honor of you guys as well.
I must admit, I had one when they first hit the supermarkets here because, of course, you know, everything Easter comes in as soon as Christmas ends nowadays. And not like I remember them.
Really?
I don't know.
They do.
Well, I think because my tastes have changed as well. Like, I don't eat Cadbury's dairy chocolate much anymore. Sorry, Cadbury's. But, it was just too sweet and a bit rubbery, actually. But maybe it was old stock. Maybe. I don't know.
But those times we used to pig out on them was still a lot of fun.
Yeah, they were.
Yes, they were. So that's just one of our little bonding moments for our listeners. I think we've already discussed the sacred flourless chocolate cake that Cass used to make for us. And, we definitely shared a love of Cadbury cream eggs as well. I don't know why. We can't even explain why. It's in the annals of history of the water trio. We just did.
Like our totem food, and then like Brittany's our patron saint.
Our patron musical saint. We did that whole musical fantasy episode and did not even mention Brittany once, and I don't even know how that happened.
I know.
Shall we share? Can I tell a story being the like sentimental Cancerian?
Yeah, I mean, just before you do, I do want to say the fact that we hold on to all these little things, that's because we're a water trio and not a fire trio. So we did this once and now we do it all the time.
And it's always around pleasure too. It's
This gives me comfort, or this is just Sorry, Cass, tell the story. Go on.
So it was back in 2006. We all went up for a weekend away. So at the time, Leishy's parents were living on a beautiful place very close to the beach up on the Central Coast. I think you were working or had something on, and so we didn't leave, Alicia, so we didn't leave until like the Friday, maybe like fairly late in the evening, like maybe 8 o'clock or something.
Oh, that was back when I worked. Yeah, that was back when I worked 9 to 5. Yeah,
exactly. So all I remember is we sort of left in the dark, and so Kel takes the back seat, falls asleep like a baby instantly.
Standard behaviour.
And me being, you know, Miss Mercury here, I sort of felt like I had this responsibility to talk to Alicia and keep her awake while she's driving, you know, up the freeway at nighttime. And this was back in the day when those quite large iPods were all the rage, and you had to stick them into your car through the cigarette lighter. And I don't think I'd actually ever held one before, so this was quite a good, cool thing. And I'm looking through Leishy's iPod trying to figure out how to work it, and I'm like, I don't know any of this music, like trying to find something that I at least kind of
would have been Prodigy, Chemical Brothers.
I don't, just this kind of electronic music, which I just don't ever listen to. I'm trying to find maybe something kind of, even if it was a bit of like soft rock, you know, soft, you know, like sort of rock and roll type stuff. And anyway, so we found something that I thought that maybe Leash would like. It was on her own iPod after all. And she sticks it in and we start listening to it, and then Leish's like, I don't like that, very Aries mood. And then I was Libra mood going, oh, well, what would you might like to listen to kind of thing. And then Kelly's laughing her head off in the back seat at the kind of literalness of our
Libra
Aries mood polarity. It was just the funniest thing. Then we would be talking and laughing. Are you still awake, Kel? And then she'd open one eye. Yeah, I'm still awake. Yes. I heard you. It was just the funniest thing. So that was the first time we'd sort of all kind of did something like that. But yeah, it was a great time.
So
I mean, and it's
the point.
I think the point of that story was cheese.
Yeah, no, but the point of that story was.
Okay, we've got about 90 seconds, so you're going to have to get to the point fast.
Brittany, So Brittany. You take this part, Leishy, if you like.
I don't remember it. I don't have the cancer memory banks, but I just I think because Kel, as we know, likes the soft rock and the John Mayer, and I definitely don't own any heavy metal or death metal or dark metal or whatever. So
whatever the technical term is.
Black.
It's all black metal.
So all we had was with Brittany.
I mean, this is what I think is hilarious, is that we have such different musical tastes, and the crossover point where it all intersects was Britney Spears. So then, I don't know whether it was that night or the next night, we basically had a Britney dance-a-thon.
Yes. That was alcohol fueled.
It was definitely infused by the spirits that we discussed in last week's episode. So that may be more than our listeners really need to know about our obsession with Britney. But we are a sentimental crew, and we can't deny that with our
let
trio
these memories
vibes.
go. And if everyone
And we do worship at the altar of Britney.
Yeah.
And whenever I go shopping and I might hear Toxic or, you know, I don't know, Hit Me Baby One More Time or whatever it is, right? I just always go back to our Water Trio times. Like Britney, and just hear that, like the way she sings and all that auto-tune. It just takes me way back.
Well, the way that the auto-tune sings,
Or like the Pitch Perfect. Was it 3 when they did that whole a cappella Toxic? I was just like, oh my God, I wish the girls were here with me right now.
Yes. Yeah. It's
so
amazing
Britney
how
Spears, Sex and the City, you know, that's just so totally us, right?
Totally.
And our generation. Yeah.
Totally. So
well, there you go, girls.
Yeah.
Not much Astro energy, but plenty of Water Trio energy for everybody. So I hope you enjoyed our little reminiscing
trip down musical lane, which is perfect for Mercury Neptune.
Yeah, for a full moon week, the sun going into Taurus, like good memories, good vibes, good times. Yeah,
so maybe that's just something of what you can embody into your own astro week with all of this full moon energy, and reflect back and, you know, enjoy some of those happy times.
Cool.
So good.
All right.
So does anybody want to... Yeah, anything that you want to share with everybody?
No, I got nothing.
No,
I don't even know.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Enjoy some chocolate. I'm a big fan of red tulip, so if you're in Australia, eat a red tulip egg for me. And
I will, Cal. I'll take one for you.
Can you guys take one for the team? I'll probably be eating a Lindt dark chocolate bunny here, but if anybody has any recommendations, I was looking the other day online for a really good, you know, like vegan dark chocolate that was maybe a bit more artisan. In Canada. There's a lot in the States, but they don't all ship to Canada. So that's
There's a beautiful brand here.
Doesn't ship out of Australia.
What about
it's very good Panna. They make some beautiful, delicious Easter stuff, but they won't ship those out of Australia.
Oh, because I brought some of those blocks of chocolate to some vegans, you know, to gift at UAC. And they were like, wow, American vegan chocolate needs to up its game. I was like,
Australian vegan chocolate. Well, because the Panna stuff is raw as well, and it is divine. It's literally chocolate that you eat one piece and you're good.
So if anybody has any vegan chocolate requests, let me know and I'll bring it to Norwalk.
Cool. There's that other really lovely brand that does the coconut milk chocolates as well. I'll give you some to take, Cass. It's really lovely.
Oh, with milk with a Y, I think I've tried them.
You don't? Oh, no, the milk one's yuck, but the other ones, there's like a coconut, there's a choc mint and a salted caramel that are delish. I want to say Cocabella.
If any listeners have any tips for stuff in Canada, that would be great, because Easter will come before Norwalk, basically.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, well, I'll bring some supplies, some Tim Tams and Vegemite and vegan chocolate.
Excellent. All right. Anyone have any announcements? Or I think it's like holiday weekend, so it's rest time.